crazy out here, y'all. Stay focused. Let's go, KD. Take a look around you. Look to find your way, babe. Your way, babe. Look to find your way. Yeah, take a look around you. Look to find your way, babe. Look to find your way. Yeah, I ain't talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do. I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said, take a look around you. Nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. I said, take a look around you. Nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Hey, you the one that say that. You and me go way back. When this whole thing over, I'ma send my invoice payday. You don't wanna say that. You don't want this payback. I keep my composure. This my kingdom, nigga. Stay back. We had a couple of moments. You had a choice, nigga, on it. Your real colors, they showing. I'm real, nigga, I'm focused. When I come around, I'm fly with it. Stay moving, Dubai with it. New sound, just vibe with it. Same truth and we die with it. I see it like it's an optical. I never sit on the fence. Nothing to me is impossible. Music of me to the end. Most of the shit is illogical. All the young niggas depend on what they pretend. Just think what you had. Stop looking at trends. You wearing your eyes like it's topical. Clearly now, the pain is gone. The fame is on. And they play my songs. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, I ain't talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said, take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. I said, take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. New era, I got y'all. Real gang, we pop off, no knockoffs. Open eyes, we watch out. Mobilize, won't cop out. COVID-19 cops out, don't flop now. Open skies, we fly now. New agenda, they try now. Most y'all getting real scared of the headlines when you find out. And getting real near. If you don't know, you behind now. Behind the times, government hide behind the lines. Most brands trying to monetize. All of us have to stay inside, don't socialize. Yeah, talk is talk, and move is move. When I come in, bitch, I change your way. Got things to do, I done pay my dues. But where was you? Nigga, where was you? I said, take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. I said, take a look around you, nigga, find your way, babe. Find your way, babe. Find your way, babe.
The following program is rated TV MANOC. It contains a big pair of nuts directly on your chin. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
I'd like you to meet somebody. This is my mother.
Well, this is just lovely. I had a neighbor confront me for using the women's restroom.
Like, this is a dude with a legit fucking, like, not even a 5 o'clock shadow. That's like an 8 o'clock shadow.
I'm so fucking triggered.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
Because the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testicles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 24 Hundo and 89 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes, busters, hustlers, and your hoes? It's your boy, Papa Swole, back with another episode. Today's episode, the Beastcast, is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everest and K2, flexing on all you beat.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
The fucking Catalina wine mixer.
All right, fam, what is going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to 2489. Drop in the comments down below. What are you smashing today? And make sure you hit some biceps and gorillas at the same time. It is Tainty Tuesday. We have a great nut to bust. It's going to be fantastic. So make sure you hit the like button. And of course, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you bang your ear holes. Let's get into today's episode. Drop in the comments down below. What are you smashing today? And I know it might be snowing where you are, so hopefully you're keeping your nips warm. That being said, hit that thumbs up and let's get into it. Let's summon the Falcon. Falcon. Yeah. Let's go. Put some respect on it. All right, fam, that's how it's done. Hashtag Tainty Magooch. Don't be a beesh, don't be a boosh, or you might most certainly end up like Tainty Magooch. Drop that in the comments down below. Hashtag Tainty Magooch. It's Tainty Tuesday. Now let's get into that tip beaches. Babe, just an inch, just an inch. It's cold outside. Now, we got a couple announcements, a couple things to go into because we have a lot of cool stuff that dropped yesterday during the accountability meeting, which is available for members inside Swolenormous X. Like I said, all those links in the show notes below to join the fam today. We have some brand new releases. And fam, I don't know if any of you tried these brand new releases yesterday. Let me just minimize that so we can zoom it in. New releases for members. We have Level 1 Vinyasa 4 with Alex and Swollen 7 Mobility. Round 14 with yours truly. So go and enjoy that. Fuck yeah! Join us inside Swolenormous X for all that amazing new shit. We also have new drops in the Swole Studio and new recipes, but those are the new training protocols for this week, so make sure you go and check that out. We also have a lot of new designs that we dropped yesterday. We have the Toxic Green GTTFG, of course, use code Daily Swole for 10% off. We have the Rocket Pop, the USA America Baby. Let's get another America. We can't hit that too much, can we? The GTTFG, as well as the Toxic Green Go to the Fucking Gym. The Red, White, and Swole Go to the Fucking Gym. We also have the all-new, of course, the Veal Puto Gimnasio. We have the hashtag VAPG and, of course, the Veal Puto Gimnasio shirt. So go and check out all those awesome designs. We have the stacked GTTFG from a week or two ago. And, of course, we have the Spitting Meme GTTFG. That's all the ones I have there. So very nice, fam. All those new drops. You know, we're always putting new stuff over there on the site, so make sure you go and just keep up with it. Of course, I'll tell you when there's new drops, but first come, first serve. So go and check out all those new things. Everything's over there at papaswolio.com. And we got to keep on talking about this, fam. It is 11 days away. 11. P3S6. 11 days away. And it's 11 days away, and it's on March 11th. 11 days away. 11 días, biches. P3S6 for 24 hours goes live on March 11th. So that's the day of episode 2500. So it's easy to keep track. I forget what day of the week it is. You can look it up on your calendar. When's March 11th? What's 11 days from now? Someone dropped that. I think it might be a Sunday. I forget. But anyway, go and check it out. swolenormousx.com/signature. And that's where the sale will occur. So that website, you can bookmark it and then be there for that. All right, let's get into the tip. Here we go, fishes.
What's in the box?
Let's get into this first. Let's get into the Swole fan post. Here we go. First one today is from Alan. Oh, it's a Saturday? Ooh, juicy. All right. Alan says, joined a few days ago trying to figure out the various resources, etc. I thought I was just getting someone to yell at me more. There's extras too. My goodness, are there ever extras? I've lifted for years, been active for years as well, spent 20 years in the Army and at times was in spectacular shape, retired 8 years ago and slowed down, but only for a few years. Was really making great progress last year until I developed a hernia, not gym related, but I was carrying a box while moving, exhaled and felt it pop. Everything's gym related. Everything's general fitness related, right? It took 6 months to get a doctor to believe me. Weird. So roughly 9 months of horribly not productive or unproductive time. I did substitute swimming for lifting, so I didn't turn into a complete slouch. This morning, halfway through my workout though, while doing my warm up for deadlift, I slipped a disc on my last rep on the way down. Boo. We'll see how long this sets me back. Hopefully not long. My God, Alan. My goodness. Alan's just like a punching bag here. I'm 46-year-old male, 6'1", currently weighing at 248 this morning. I checked my body fat percentage with the InBody deal, 22%, and we know the accuracy is with that, so give or take. I don't really care about getting bigger. Goals include living to 50. Short term, I'd like to be around 220 to 225-ish at, say, around 18% body fat. I've been as low as 10%, but that shit sucks to maintain. Yeah, 10% unnecessary, unrealistic, and you're not going to be at your peak performance with that low of a body fat percentage. So totally reasonable. Sounds like you just need to eat better. You definitely need mobility. You definitely need yoga. You definitely need some better training protocols and training methodology. So welcome, Alan. And not only will I yell at you, but you'll also get all those amazing programs and master classes and yoga, which we're going to get Alan in a big way. We're going to get him into that yoga, I think. It's time to make Alan a yogi. That's really going to be the difference. That's really going to be the difference. Thank you for your service. 20 years in the Army. Let's get another America for Alan there. Hell yeah. But yeah, I think Alan's going to get big time into yoga. That'd be the direction for you to go, Alan, for sure. Okay, Christine, we got a post here. Hello, I am happy to be here for my journey in health and weight loss. I'm 51, female, 290, 5 feet 4 inches. I had a heart attack when I was 49 with 2 stints. No exercise previously, so it will be a challenge. I am ready to change. Thank you. Sincerely, Christine. Well, welcome. That's intense. I'm sorry to hear about your health issues, but 290 at 5'4" is not, that's not a good thing for you. So I'm glad you're here. Time to make those positive changes. But remember, Christine, it's going to start with your habits. And when you follow the 7 pillars, when you approach from that aspect, it is going, remember the side effect. The goal might be weight loss, but the focus should not be, because the weight loss is going to be the side effect. The fat loss is going to be the side effect. So as long as you are medically cleared, doing an elimination diet, cutting out inflammatory foods, getting rid of estrogenics in your environment, improving those lifestyle habits tremendously. And also in terms of exercise, yoga and mobility is going to be very important. We do have chair yoga. We have starter yoga classes. It's going to be something that you need to ramp up, but of course, gradually, and just start with the fundamentals. Keep on communicating with us and we'll help you get started. And you can let us know if there's any other limitations or things that you are concerned about or that your medical practitioner has recommended against. And we have a lot of people that have lost tremendous amounts of weight. So the beautiful thing about the Swole fam is that when you join, it's not like I'm sitting here, Dr. Swolio, here's my prescription. We have all these different protocols in order for you to optimize and for you to pursue and to discover your own optimal diet, your own optimal training with our approach, with the elimination diet, the nutrition jumpstart. We have the recipes, we have all the programs from Swole Mastery to Swole Season to 90-Day Dash and the master classes and the recipe. Like, we have all these different protocols, but of course you have to navigate and let us in. You have to share. You have to become a part of the Swole fam and reach out and let us know a little bit more about yourself. That way, when you are, because everyone can start from a different place. When you look at the 7 pillars, not everyone starts with, it's not like you start in order. Okay, number 1, I'm going to get my community. Sure, that's great. You join the Swole fam, you get the community, but you have to forge that. It's really, when we talk about community, it's not just the Swole fam, it's also whom you surround yourself with and the things that you surround yourself, what your environment is like. So community is pretty synonymous with environment. So you might join the Swole fam, but the people in your physical presence might suck. So you really need to psychologically fortify yourself and lock down your community in your own mind and in your immediate surroundings, because that can easily drag you down. So the 7 pillars are not necessarily done in order or have to be done. There's not one that's necessarily more important than the others. You can make the argument for a few of them as being the most important, but they really all support one another. So it's not like, hey, pillar number 4 is the most important, so focus on that the most. But you're going to look and you're going to see as you go through that there are certain ones that you might be more challenged with. There are certain ones that you might have to give a little bit more effort in terms of executing and being consistent with. So everyone's going to be a little bit different. You might have the meditation pretty locked down. You might have the yoga locked down, but maybe you're not drinking enough water. Maybe your strength training is lacking. Maybe you have a lot of negative people in your life that you have to get rid of. So everyone's going to be coming at it from a different spot. And when we talk about the programs and getting started, for someone like Christine, not everyone starts with hardcore training. So some people like to focus a little bit more on nutrition first. Some people like to focus a little bit more on meditation first. So as long as you're building your pillars and you're getting more consistent, that's going to develop and adjust and improve over time. And it's just important to give yourself a little slack, but also not make excuses and, go all in. Go all in. There's no time to waste. There really isn't. We got a post here from the Discord. Ayo, Jamie. Good morning. I'm Jamie. I joined a few days ago and I'm just getting around to the introduction. I'm 31 and have dabbled in fitness and nutrition for the last 5 years. I lost 30 pounds within that time and then put back on 60. I got serious in January of last year when I saw pictures of my 30th and was disgusted with myself. I've lost 30 pounds since then, with fucking up a lot nutritionally, but I've been consistent in the gym. I'm excited to learn as much as I can here and amp up my regimen. So welcome, golf clap for Ayo, Jamie. Ayo. So Jamie, obviously, you lost 30 pounds with fucking up a lot nutritionally. Well, that stops now. All right. There's no excuse to fuck up. These are all poor choices. These are all poor planning. All those, whatever those reasons were fucking up, that's just bullshit. Okay, you're just giving yourself an out. You're just succumbing to the negative forces around you, which they always exist. These are things that are constant pressures, friends, family, bad habits, your environment. Like, this is something that's never going to change. It's always going to be like that. So a lot of times people think, oh, it's just going to get easier. If I eat healthy and I get progress a little bit, it's just going to get easier. It doesn't get easier. You get better at overcoming that force. You get better at overcoming the negativity, but it doesn't get easier. And this is the misconception that you think it just gets easier. No, it's just perception. It seems like it gets easier for you, but all those other negatives and downsides and peer pressures and all those things, they're always there. Maybe not so much the peer pressures if you really hone down your community, but the negative peer pressure of that voice inside your head is what I'm referring to. So that kind of stuff is always there. And this is what happens when you let your foot off the gas pedal. That's when you start going backwards real fast. So you can't get cocky. You can't pretend like, oh, I'm done now. We were talking about this yesterday in the accountability meeting. Oh, I'm just going to maintain now. I built some muscle. I lost some weight. Oh, I'm just going to maintain. There's no such thing as maintaining. You're either going forwards or you're going backwards. You're not going to maintain. You're not going to maintain. The same thing as if you're paddling or treading water in the middle of a lake or a pool. You're not maintaining. You're slowly you're slowly dying. because you're not gonna be able to do that forever. So by default, you're slowly sliding downwards. Maybe you can tread water for an hour or 2 hours or 8 hours. Maybe you're a fucking Navy SEAL. Eventually you're gonna fucking drown. Eventually, if you don't start moving forward, right? Okay, let's see here. We got another post here from Jenny. Hi, Jenny. Gotta hit the Forrest Gump.
My name's Forrest Gump.
I gotta do that for you, Jenny. Have to. All right, just a couple pics of food prep. Never thought I could get so excited about grass-fed New York strips. Oh my God. Also pictured as ground bison burger with roasted asparagus. Haven't lost a lot of weight, but I am losing inches all over my body, so I'm pretty happy about that. Jenny, keep focused. When you're talking about having lost a lot of weight, you're stepping on the scale, so fuck the scale. Go fuck yourself, scale. That soundboard was for the scale. You're losing inches all over your body, which means you're losing fat. Keep lifting weights. Keep eating high protein, high quality fats. Get rid of those inflammatory foods. Keep listening to the Mancast, and you're doing great. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. That's the thing. You can't be measuring only by the scale. That's gonna fuck you up. All right, Joanne. Last Swole Fam post. We'll get into some knowledge cock. Hey fam. Had a week of nothing but recovery yoga, and boy, did it feel less like recovering and more like work, but as a result, felt so much better to go and smash some weights. Got my leg day in yesterday and now prepping my lunches before I leave for work. My version of a burger. Homemade grass-fed lamb patties, fried pineapple, feta, and avocado. Oh my God, so damn good. Well, very nice. Very nice. All right. Excellent. Well, Joanne, Jenny, Jamie, Christine, Alan, awesome post today. Thank you everyone for sharing in the Discord, in the Telegram chat, in the Facebook group, on the discussion boards. If you want to join all those amazing people and myself inside the Swole Fam, check us out, swolenormousx.com. Now it's time for some knowledge cock. So let's just drop some questions in the comments if you have them live. We got some calls. We'll start off with a call. We'll take a couple live questions. We got some Instagram questions if we need to. And let's take the first one from Eric. You're live on the Sleazecast. You're live on the Sleaze. Remember, go to askpapasfolio.com if you want to submit a call. Eric, you're on the line.
Am I allowed to drink alcohol?
Well, I'm your papa, but I ain't your daddy. So are you allowed to? It's not good for you objectively. It's just not. Most people don't realize how bad alcohol is until they actually stop drinking for a while. So I encourage you to not drink for a few months at least, and then you're going to see how hard it hits. So am I allowed? I'm just going to be honest. I don't give a fuck what you do. I do, but I don't. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep. I'm going to be like, you can't. I'm not here to tell you not to do something. If anything, I'm here to encourage you. And maybe satirically be like, no, you shouldn't fucking drink. But people can listen to this podcast and be like, well, I'm going to drink anyway. Okay. Right? You know, I'm not babysitting you. So are you allowed to? Sure, you're a big boy. You're legally and morally, you're allowed to. And just because you can, this is the classic, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Right? Just because you go put a dirty, bleeding AIDS dick covered in COVID in your mouth doesn't mean you should. Am I right?
Matt Damon.
Am I right? So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Am I allowed to? It's not good for your health. Anyone that tells you, oh, it's just a little drink, or it's just everything in moderation, that's nonsense. If you want to do the everything in moderation game, prepare to get no fucking results. Prepare to not make amazing progress. Prepare to not self-actualize. Like that's the biggest fucking excuse. That's the biggest pussy victim excuse. Well, everything in moderation. Sure, keep your addictions. Justify that to yourself. You're going to regret it. I'm not saying never ever have a drink of alcohol, but my point is most people don't have, when someone says, oh, I usually have one drink on a special occasion, yeah, right. A lot of people say that. They say they have junk food or they have alcohol one drink a week. Yeah. You know, a bottle of wine is not one drink. Okay? So most people severely underestimate the frequency of their bad habits in a big way because they know they're bad habits. They know they shouldn't. They know it's not good for them. Plus, when you do something repetitively, you don't remember all the individual moments. It's like these fat acceptance jabbernets that think that they eat healthy or that they gain weight by just breathing. It's like, I don't think is breathing between chews. You're not gaining weight. I just look at food and gain 10 pounds. That's because you're looking at it as you're eating it. It's not, you don't gain weight just by looking at food. It's the stupidest thing. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I mean, it's not good for you. It's not healthy for you. It's not good for your body. It's really not good for your body. Don't believe me? Research it. There's a lot of content out there right now. It's becoming much more popular to quit drinking. I naturally gravitate away from it. I don't drink. And it's not like I don't drink. I stay away from it. I avoid it. We had a whole whiskey shelf because I used to have that with like some cigars. And once in a while, I used to drink. I have some early videos where I was drinking like PBR. I used to drink whiskey. I used to drink beer. I used to have, not necessarily every day, but it was more of a regular thing. And then I just fell out of it. I fell out of it because once I started cutting out other foods, once I cut out like Sour Patch Kids, and I started cutting out, I was still eating liver and grass-fed beef, but once I started cutting out all these other little things, my progress and how I felt was just so much better. I just never went back to it. So when we first moved into this house, we had a whole whiskey shelf. You know, it was all set up, had all the whiskey and all the stuff like on the shelf, and it was a, you know, I don't care about a nice display. And then it got to the point where we were just looking at it, like, why is this here? Why is this here? This is wasting space. It's literally just wasting space. Because one, I don't care what people think. So, and I don't use it. So I wasn't drinking the stuff. We had all the glasses up there hanging, right? I was like, what? This is wasted space. So now we have bands, kettlebell rack there. Some of you have seen that in the Swole fam, but the kettlebell rack, and now we have like all this, like, you know, some shelves and storage for some stuff in the weight room and things like that. And we took all the whiskey, and it's like up on like the cabinets, on top of the cabinets or under the cabinets. We just hit it. I haven't missed it at all. I haven't even thought about whiskey. I think there's like a bottle or two over here just sitting there in a box, like tucked away. And I actually was cleaning up the other day. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that was here. I'm so used to seeing that bottle there, but just haven't had any. No desire for it. Just no desire for it. And the thing is, when you stop doing something like that for a while, you know, whiskey is one of those things, in my opinion, it's an acquired taste. So if you're drinking it more frequently, you start to can taste the difference and like, oh, different flavors. But if you, for me, like from not drinking it for like 2 years, having some is probably gonna be like shoe. It's probably gonna be like shoe cleaner. It might be brutal. So some things when you go off it for a while, it's gonna hit pretty hard. All right, let's see here. Cal, what do you guys drink when you're out with friends? Are you talking to me? I'm not gonna drink, so I'm not really going out, hanging out in places where that would be occurring. I mean, if we go out to like dinner or something like that, I mean, Mama Swole, she might have like a glass of wine or something, but I don't like wine. Never did. I've tried to at a time. I've tried to, but it was just fake. I was just trying to like it. I was giving myself, okay, maybe if I just drink it more frequently, I would like learn to like it. Never took. Maybe I just didn't drink something that I liked, but I don't know. It's just fermented grapes. I'd rather have fermented. Yeah, I get headaches from wine. I think it's like the sulfites or the grapes or something like that. But I'd rather have fermented milk. So fermented grapes, no. But fermented dairy, give me some kefir. Let's fucking go. That's exactly what I did. That's what I had, Jeff. Jeff says, I didn't even make a conscious decision to stop drinking, just no longer have a reason or desire. Same way. It was there. It was just on the shelf, and I just didn't. There was never any pull for me to have a drink. There was never. It just disappeared. I just didn't want it. I didn't think about it. I forgot about it. It just was taking up useless space, so we moved it. Let's take another call here. This one's from, it says George and Astrid. Or is it Jorge? All right. Caller's on the line. Caller's on the line.
Dear Papa Swolio, me and my girlfriend really like your channel. However, I go to the gym a lot, but she doesn't go. We wanted to ask if you have any advice for her. Thank you, from London, England.
Come here, George. So you're calling to get... So is this both of you together? You ever like tied up in the corner like... And you're like, dear Papa Swolio. And she's in the corner. She doesn't want to go to the gym. So we just had a question. What are your thoughts of her not wanting to go to the gym? What should we do? And she's in the corner. You go. You fucking go.
Emotional damage.
I'm confused about that, George. Cheers from across the pond. But I'm confused about that. You're both sitting there like, I don't go to the fucking gym. What should we do? She should go to the fucking gym. How many women are in the world? I know there's like 7+ billion people. Numbers going down, by the way, so keep making babies. Thank you, Pedro. Salute to Pedro for repopulating the earth. But what are we going to do? Pedro and Elijah are just like, they just don't pull out. There's what, 3 billion? How many women to men? Actually, that's a good question. How many women to men? Yeah, how many women? There's a lot more women today, right? And there's a lot more women today than there was a couple weeks ago, right?
Einhorn is Finkle. Finkle is Einhorn.
So all of a sudden, we have, let's say we have like 3.5, let's say 7 billion people. You have 3.5. All of a sudden in like 2020, 2021, all of a sudden, boom, there's like a billion more women suddenly. Where'd they come from? Are there
any women here today?
Where'd they come from? All those women with Adam's apples, right? So there's more people out there. But if you're calling together, if you're both, it's a strange question to ask if you're both sitting there like, what should I do if I'm not going to go to the fucking gym. Take her with you. Again, it's not about whether you want to do it. Okay? It's actually irrelevant. This is the motivation question. It's irrelevant. My girlfriend doesn't go to the gym. Well, she should. She doesn't like to. It doesn't matter. This is what training is, one of those things that doesn't matter if you like doing it. It has nothing to do with anything. And this is the biggest problem. This is the biggest difference. People are always looking for something that they want to do. No, I have to enjoy it. I have to like it. I have to want to do it. Yet they're doing all these other things in their life that they don't want to do. There are a lot of responsibilities that you might have they don't necessarily like doing. You could reframe your brain. You can meditate, be more mindful and appreciative, and have more gratitude, of course, for the little things. But even if you don't like training, you don't like lifting, irrelevant. And I'm not saying that to be rude, like you have to do what I do, because if you don't do what I do, then you're weird. No, you have to take care of your physical health, take care of your body. But I don't like lifting weights. No one cares. You don't like moving your body. One of the few things that you can actually consciously control is your nervous system and moving your muscle. You just don't want to do it. You don't want to move your body, and you don't want to move your physical body. So the only thing that you can consciously do, you don't consciously breathe. You do it automatically. You don't consciously digest. You can't control your mind. Your mind's going to keep on going nuts all the time. But you can actually move your muscles and move your body. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to move my body. Do it together. You can start off by doing some sort of movement that you have more of an affinity to. Start going for a walk. Like some people, and this is the beauty of resistance training. Everyone should be doing resistance training. So I'm not saying, well, just do Zumba. She likes doing Zumba, so that's great. No, you do fucking resistance training. You can do that shit too, but you need to do resistance training. Whether you like bands or kettlebells or dumbbells or barbells or you need to do things that have physical resistance. You need to lift some shit, sandbag. It doesn't matter, but you need to do some resistance training. It's good for your bones. It's good for your hormones. It's good for your mind. Lift some fucking weights. All right. So I don't really know the whole context of this question. If you're both sitting there and you're both like, well, she doesn't like going to the fucking gym. She doesn't want to go to the gym. You do it. It's time to train. Again, like I've been saying in a lot of videos, do you wipe your ass after you take a shit? Do you wipe your ass? The question is yes. Please say yes. Please say yes. That's disgusting. Don't be a nasty beach. If you, someone's like, well, I mean, I don't know. It depends. It depends. Sometimes it's a non-wiper. Okay. In general, you're going to check. You're going to wipe your butt. So if you wipe your butt, you don't think, I don't know if I feel like wiping my ass today. Doesn't even cross your mind. You make sure you don't have any shit down there. Same thing with your training. It's time to train. It's time to wipe. Time to wipe. Time to train. Go to the fucking gym. All right. I need a shirt. Fuck your Zumba. Fucking Zumba. Ding, 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 ding. Just, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Seriously, if you like your active recovery, you like to go and do the Zumba, sure, you can love to dance. Go for it. But please lift weights. Like crush some fucking steel and then you could do your Zumba. Right? Right. All right. De la Junior, Papa Swolio. Good morning, Papa. Good morning. It's me, the Amazon driver again. Thank you for your service. There are some days I don't eat while I'm out delivering, and I've noticed my hunger will disappear after about an hour. Is that normal? Well, there's a bunch of different mechanisms for that. It depends on what your goals are, like intermittent fasting or just not eating constantly all day is totally fine. Pinky. Don't be howling. Stop it. Hopefully she doesn't start whimpering. But your body will get used to eating frequently. So if you're eating 3 times a day, if you're always eating at 10 a.m., and then let's say you're always eating at 8 a.m., and then you suddenly stop eating at 8 a.m. and or 10, whatever I said, and it's 2 p.m., you might feel hungry right away. You might feel hungry right away because you are used to eating. Your body's used to getting food by that time, by 8 or 9 or 10. So are you actually hungry? No, you're really not. It's more of a psychological, it's more of like your brain expecting food, but you don't actually need nutrients. There's no life or death situation where you need food now. I think we all can agree on that. If today at this point, when you're listening to this, you haven't eaten yet today, oh my God, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Are you hungry? Are you really hungry? Or are you just used to getting nutrients? Are you used to eating? In other words, are you hungry? We have to redefine hunger and do you need food? Okay. And if you have a lot of extra body fat, no, you certainly do not need food. Do you need nutrition? You need nutrition. Do you need food? Not necessarily, because you have a lot of energy in storage. You have a lot of calories on your body. And if you're obese or overweight, you have extra body fat, your body fat percentage is too high, you have extra energy on your body that you need to tap into. So you don't need to be eating all day long. So, de la Junior, if you need to start tightening up your eating window, maybe you don't like to eat during like the earlier part of the day. It's totally fine. But I would make sure that you have generally an eating window optimally during daylight hours, maybe between 4 and 8 p.m. or 2 and 6, whatever it is, pick something. And remember, when you are eating, if you change your eating schedule, there's going to be a transition time when your body is expecting food. So essentially that hunger impulse is more like, hey, we're supposed to eat now, right? Trust me, I've done this. I've eaten every 2 hours. I've told the story many times. I used to set a timer after I finished my last bite because I was in bulking season. This is like year 2002. So I would finish eating. I would finish my last bite, swallow it. I had a little Timex, one of those G-Shock. Boom, I would hit the timer. I had a timer always on 2 hours, and I would just hit start, and it would count down. And trust me, when it hit 0, I wasn't hungry. But it was time to eat because I was eating X amount of protein and calories every 2 hours. It was gross. So I was like shoving. Oh, it was disgusting. But it got to the point when I would be working. I was working at a coffee shop at the time. And it was like a small coffee shop. So it wasn't like tons of traffic at certain times of the day, restocking. And they sold like luxury chocolates and stuff like that. It was a little touristy type place too. So I would start getting hungry. I'd be like, ooh, I would start to feel hungry. Or get that little like hunger, like pang. And I would look down at my watch and the countdown was less than 4 minutes. Less than 4 minutes. Now, there's no way in hell I was actually hungry. There's no way. And I recognized this right away. I'm like, there's no way I'm actually hungry. I just ate literally 2 hours ago. So it's just my body expecting food. It's like someone knocking at your door every day at 12. You start to like expect the knock. And if there's not there, like, oh, where's the knock? Someone's supposed to be here, whatever. So you just get used to it. You get used to that timing. Your body becomes an assembly. So if you're very strict with your body, if you're very regimented, same thing with sleep, same thing with any of your habits. That's why it's so hard to break habits because you get so into this and your body's not actually hungry. I wasn't going to die if I didn't get food. Oh my God, I'm starving. It's been 2 fucking hours and I literally ate a ton of food. There's no way I was actually nutrient deficient, actually hungry, right? Okay, let's take one from Sayan. 0, Papa Swole. First off, thanks for what you do for us, Papa. Why, thank you. Thanks for what you do for me. Thanks for being here every day and asking good questions and trolling me. I appreciate it all. Is it wise to do a gut cleanse? And if so, what's a good cleanse agent you would recommend? I would recommend an elimination diet and not eating shit. I personally am not a fan of any of these gut cleanses. I think it's just a big marketing scam. My approach to improving my gut health is just to eat better foods and let your body cleanse shit out. There's things like charcoal and all these other things that can absorb heavy metals and stuff like that. You can rabbit hole that if you want. Many of these things aren't necessarily detrimental to the body, but it's just either a waste of money or a waste of time or it's just not necessary. So things that are beneficial for your gut, understand that the gut, and I'm not a gut expert. This is like very new science in terms of like the microbiome. It's just very complicated. There's just so many different types of bacteria. What you want is an actual beneficial, it's like a garden. So how many of you do farming or gardening? And you know that if you have plants or flowers, it's not like, oh, you just plant them and let them go. Like if you're populating your own garden or things like that, you water, you fertilize, they need certain amounts of sun. If you have certain plants, you let certain weeds grow, like certain weeds that grow in your garden, they'll choke out the plants, they'll take all the water and they'll tie up the roots or whatever, and the plants will die. X, Y, and Z, or they'll cover and they'll block the sun. So you need to actually tend the area. It's the same thing with your gut. So your gut's a garden, but it's a garden of bacteria. So you have good bacteria and bad bacteria. And when I say good and bad bacteria, there really is no bad bacteria. It's just usually an overgrowth of bacteria that's not going to be beneficial. So they're good bacteria in the sense that you want to balance. Like they're going to exist, but you just don't want them to be in larger quantities than other ones. You want to balance. You want like the scale to be, psychologically, in just terms of for our conversation, you want it to be balanced. So how do you populate the gut? Well, things like antibiotics, ibuprofen, things that like jack up the gut, which is not just the stomach. People think of the gut as like the stomach. It's the small intestines. So if you are taking these things, antibiotics, it just kills everything. So you're killing good bacteria and, quote, bad bacteria. So a lot of these things are very detrimental. And what you want to do is reduce your intake of inflammatory foods, because one of the issues when you have inflammatory foods, you have this kind of swelling of the junctions in the small intestines, which will allow bacteria and other food particles that haven't been fully absorbed or digested to get into the bloodstream, and your body mounts autoimmune reactions. So it's called leaky gut. You can look that up. So leaky gut's a real thing. Most people have it, and it's a huge problem. So healing the gut, bone broth is fantastic. Alcohol is terrible for your gut biome, but things like kefir, this is why I'm a big fan of kefir, which is fermented milk, fermented dairy. It's fantastic for populating the digestive system, populating the gut. Yogurt doesn't really do the same thing. The kefir is really what you want to go for. So that's very beneficial. I've noticed, Mama Soy and I noticed massive changes with just like bowel movements and just like the way I feel when I go to the bathroom. Oh, it's amazing. A huge difference. And just the probiotics and that, and not consuming inflammatory foods. This is why the elimination diet is important, because if you have inflammatory foods, you have things that are damaging the gut or causing inflammation, then you're literally causing your body to be in a constant state of alarm. So if you have inflammation in the gut and you're eating foods that are causing separation and leaky gut, they're leading to your body's autoimmune response being constantly elevated. And when it's constantly elevated, you're constantly under stress, and it wears away over time and leads to all sorts of preventable disease. So good question. Good question. Jay Gringo, what brand of kefir do you like? Always loving the show. I get raw dairy and I make it myself. So I recommend, if you have access to raw dairy, make it yourself. Sometimes if you purchase raw dairy from somewhere, they might also sell raw kefir, but you can get kefir grains on Amazon. Comes in like in a little plastic tin with instructions how to make it, but there's tons and tons of these like health blogs that tell you how to make it. And these kefir grains, it's just really a bacterial culture with like yeast and some other bacteria that specifically they're called kefir grains. It's like little spongy cauliflower. So it tells you how to activate them. They feed off the lactose. So fermentation, the bacteria feed off the sugars, whether it's you're making mead, you're making like honey, or you're fermenting vegetables or things like that for preserving. So it feeds off the lactose. This is why kefir is really great for people that might have lactose intolerance, because the bacteria break down, they feed off the lactose. So it makes it much easier to digest, and most people that have lactose intolerance don't have kefir issues. So I make it myself. I love it. For a while I was drinking a lot more in the morning. I usually have it after a workout too. It's like my post-workout, just have a thing of kefir because it's protein, fats, nutrients. But I do like having, I guess how big the glass is, like 8 ounces. I have like a cup of it in the morning. I like it on an empty stomach. Dan, piggybacking off we got to move into some balls deep. Piggybacking off the not eating all the time discussion, shouldn't we be making sure to be eating sufficiently if we're lifting weights regularly? Yeah. But what does that have to do with not eating all the time? One has nothing to do with the other. Like I lift weights regularly, but I'm not like constantly stuffing my face. The most important thing is you're getting the nutrients, the proteins and things like that you need over the course of time. So for example, people are always acting like, okay, X amount of calories every day. You don't have to be eating every day. Like your body doesn't just like reset. It's not an Etch-a-Sketch. Like in the morning, it starts fresh. What you ate yesterday is still affecting you. So people eat like that. People psychologically eat like that. They'll eat fast food and junk food on Monday. Oh, it's Tuesday, fresh start. The food that you ate on Monday is still going to fuck you up till Wednesday or Thursday. It's still causing inflammation. It's still moving through your digestive system. It's still causing all those chain reaction side effects and negative sleep patterns. So you don't just wake up and it's a brand new start. You still have the remnants. You still have the day before that's affecting you today. So, what you ate yesterday, those calories are fueling you through today. So it's kind of like it's really the calories over the course of multiple days or a week. People don't usually think about like weekly caloric consumption, but if you're doing fasting, then it definitely plays into effect. And again, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're aggressively trying to build muscle and bulk, yeah, fasting is going to be a challenge in order to get the amount of protein and calories that you need for building overall mass. But you don't need a ton of a surplus either. So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you just want to be like more longevity and be healthier, then fasting more frequently is a better idea, in my opinion. Everyone's different. Okay. And let's see. One more question. Leandro, you're on the Daily Swole. Oh, Leandro, talk to me. Tickle my ear holes, Leandro.
Hi, Papa Swolio.
Hello.
I'm Leon Videla from Argentina. I'm 26 years old. I'm really skinny, and I want to ask you, how do I get bigger? This is a very difficult task for me because I have a really high metabolism and I can't eat a lot in one meal. I need a recommendation for supplements, and what do you think about Tongat Ali?
Wow. A lot to unpack there, Mochambo. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it. Leandro Videla. Love it. Let's get a round of applause. Good stuff. Thanks for the call. So you're skinny, you have a high metabolism. You're not eating enough food. So this kind of goes to what I was talking about before. It's hard for me to eat a lot of at one sitting. Okay. It's not supposed to be easy. So you're trying to pack on mass. Your body doesn't want to gain muscle. Okay. Getting fat, yeah, it's not hard for your body. Your body is actually designed to try to store as much fat as possible. Okay. So once you realize that, once you think about this evolutionarily, your body is designed or has evolved to store as much fat as possible. Okay. This is what your body is trying to do. Okay. Classically, throughout history, you just didn't have the access to as much food. You didn't have access to the food that would allow you to get fat. This is why 100 years ago, or anyone that was fat or obese was a corporate fat cat. They were a very, very wealthy landowner or something. They could have a stomach or a belly because they sat around and everyone else did the work, right? They weren't working in the fields. They owned a business or a company or an oil refinery or something like that. So anyone that was obese wasn't slaving away in the fields for 15 fucking hours. I promise you that. So you have to eat more food so that your body is trying to essentially, when you're eating, to store fat. Your body doesn't want to build lean muscle. It will, but it doesn't want to. And the reason why I say it doesn't want to, it's just an adaptation. So if you want to put on size, you're not trying to put on fat, you're trying to build muscle. This is a very challenging, it's much easier to store fat than it is to build lean tissue because your body has to be put under stress. When you build muscle, it's a reaction. This is just negative feedback mechanisms over and over again. If you expose your body to an environment that is stressful, you expose your body to an environment where it's getting rep after rep of a heavy weight over and over again, day after day, week after week, in different body parts, like resistance. Not too much because it does, you don't want to overload to get hurt, but enough resistance and then enough recovery. And then there's resistance again, and there's recovery, and there's resistance again. Your body's gonna be like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is painful. This hurts. So it's going to adapt, and the muscle fibers will grow. The tendons, the ligaments, they get stronger and thicker, more dense. Your body develops and adjusts in order to handle it because it's uncomfortable. Your body is trying to adapt to the environment because you're putting it in a weightlifting environment. You're putting it in a stressful environment. There's a lot of external forces. So that constant internal tension that your body is producing spurs these adaptations over time. If there's enough nutrition, if there's enough protein to rebuild, if there's not enough protein to rebuild, the body won't recover as much. You keep on putting stress. Eventually you get hurt and then you won't be able to do it. And then survival of the fittest, and then you'll die because you can't hunt and you can't move. And then someone that could survive and could handle it will reproduce, like from an evolutionary standpoint. So obviously, you don't have like cavemen going like this, caveman benching. But the whole point is your body is doing its best to adapt to the environment. So you have to create the environment with the proper balance of recovery, proper nutrition, and resistance. So you're saying it's hard to gain weight. Welcome to the club. Like, it's hard to build muscle. You're not trying to get fat. It's hard to build muscle. You need more protein. You need to lift hard, and you think you can't eat a lot, then cool. You have to eat more frequently. It's not going to be easy. You're going to be full. So if you're trying to bulk, and you're trying to put on muscle, and you need to get in, let's say 150 or 200 grams of protein a day, whatever it is, guess what? You're going to be full. And guess what? You got to eat it anyway. Doesn't sound glamorous, does it? Doesn't sound glamorous, does it? No. Like eating when you're not hungry is not fun. And we're not talking about, drinking soda or eating chips and shit that your body doesn't know that's actually food. And you just like eat stuff compulsively because it's just like empty fucking calories. You never feel satisfied. No, we're talking eating dense food. Try eating like steak when you're fucking full of steak. Not pleasant. Not pleasant. It's very simple to put on muscle. Very simple to put on size. Just people dramatically underestimate how frequently they have to eat, and they go by their feeling. Like, oh, I feel full. It doesn't matter what you feel. Again, you have to objectively, like if you're in this situation, you need to objectively start measuring and tracking and seeing how much you're consuming and hit that number. And trust me, if you're actually measuring accurately, you will realize, oh, I'm not hungry. Oh, I have to eat this. And you just have to eat more frequently. Everyone's got to do it. Everyone's got to do it. It's how everyone has to bulk. You're talking about like Tongat Ali, one of those herbs. I think it's like potentially supposed to maybe improve testosterone or something like that. I'm not really going to speak too much on it. That's kind of been kicked around, I think, because Andrew Huberman talked about it like a year or two ago on Rogan. What I can tell you is that it's not going to make or break you building muscle. I mean, it's not going to make or break it's not going to make the difference between like where you're doing now. You're not going to take that and be like, oh my God, all of a sudden, what you're asking too with like supplements for food, it's like it's more food. Yeah, you could have a protein powder and things like that, but it sounds like your food isn't on point yet, just saying, or your training, or both. So it sounds like there's a lot unsaid about your nutrition. So I'm not sure exactly all the details. But feel free to call back in with some more details, because just saying like I'm hungry, like I just don't feel hungry. The feeling that's the shit of bulking and putting on muscle, is that all that matters is that are you getting the food in? Doesn't matter if you feel like eating. I don't feel like getting more protein in. Well, then you're not going to build muscle. So just some thoughts. Feel free to call back in. Hopefully that helps you. And just saying, in terms of all those supplements, the supplements are not going to make or break the difference between you building a ton. Sure, you can add in some like grass-fed whey protein, but sounds like there's a lot to be improved when it comes to your time management and food consumption and that kind of consistency, because that's going to make the difference. That's going to make the difference of your growth there. Okay, and that's awesome. We got to move on. Great fucking questions. We got to move on. Excellent. We're going to have to save a couple of these things tomorrow because we went long. That's what she said.
That's deep.
Let's see. Maybe we'll just do, maybe we'll do 2 today. I got a story or 2. So I think we'll probably raffle off. Jesus Christ. I think we'll have to raffle off something. I think we know which ones we're going to do. Yeah, those 2 are going to pop. I don't want to see her face. I don't want to see any of these faces, but I know which ones we're going to do. Both horrible. Let's do a story first. All right, balls deep. Everyone hit that like button. Let's go. Hit the like button. If you haven't yet, share the stream. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Enjoy the knowledge cock. Now, if you're easily offended, this is not the place for you. It is a place for you. You are welcome here. I just wish I could hear you crying. I just wish I could hear you crying in my headphones. That's it. Come on. Stop whining. All right, here we go, Bishas. First article. I thought this was interesting. We always talk about how artificial sweeteners are trash. Obviously, these studies, there's always something like pros and cons of studies, but we have low-calorie artificial sweetener found in Halo Top ice cream, Monster Energy, and Quest protein bars may raise the risk of heart attacks and strokes, study warns. Now, I've been talking about for years how Halo Top and Quest and all this stuff is garbage. Oh, but Quest bars, Papa Swole, it's trash. But Halo Top, it's fucking garbage. Artificial sweeteners are garbage. They are garbage. Everyone's just trying to get away with something. Trying to get away with something. Just trying to eat something. No, Halo Top is not good. It's fucking ice cream. Unless you're making it with raw cream and like mango and egg yolks, make it yourself. Make it yourself. If you're getting any kind of artificial sweeteners, it's trash. Especially. Most of these things are just mass-produced garbage. God, so many people think this stuff is fucking healthy. All right. Erythritol is about 70% as sweet as sugar while containing just 6% of the calories. Of course, that's the whole point. That's the grift, right? Making a popular choice for diet products. Found in zero-calorie drinks, Monster Energy, low-calorie ice cream substitutes, including Halo Top, Quest protein bars. But experts have warned, there's a couple of reasons why I thought this story was interesting. Not so much about this. Like, it's pretty obvious to me that it's going to lead to issues, but check this out. But experts have warned the sweetener can remain in our blood, quote, for days and appears to lead to a higher risk of clots, blood clots. And I thought this was interesting. And I'm like, I wonder if they're just kind of like leaking this kind of stuff out because of the vaccines causing blood clots. And I just was kind of thinking like, I wonder if like, oh, well, no, it's just the artificial sweeteners that this person was consuming. So pretty, I guess, convenient that it causes clots too. It definitely doesn't help, but just a thought. It's like, oh, now we can blame artificial sweeteners and not experimental gene therapy. A team from the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio analyzed the blood of more than 1,000 people. Oh, there's the screenshot clipped over it. Let's see. They discovered those with elevated levels of erythritol had an increased risk of heart attack and stroke over the next 3 years. They also found when added the sweetener to blood platelets, the cell fragments that clump together to stop bleeding. Erythritol made platelets clot faster. And not only this, like you can go and read through the study, just the interesting concept about it. There's a lot of levels or amounts that might be legally allowed in foods, right? So like, oh, well, you can have only X amount of erythritol or the artificial sweetener. People don't have one thing of Halo Top. Like, they're eating Halo Top and they're having 3 monsters and they're eating 4 Quest bars. Like, people are doing this kind of shit every day. So we know people are not healthy, but just keep in mind, whenever you look at these studies, like I'm not going through all the details of the study. I just thought it was like interesting from that concept. I'm not saying it's the best study. I'm not saying, oh, erythritol is causing the cancer. It's really all of these things, right? It's the birth control in the water. It's the deodorant and the aluminum and shit that you're putting under your armpit that you're absorbing. It's these toxic tampons that you're sticking in your pussy. It's all this shit all the time in every aspect, going in every hole in every orifice of your body. You're constantly surrounded with it. It's like, it's just a constant exposure. Laundry detergents, dryer sheets, fabric softeners, like all this fucking shit all the fucking time. So people aren't heaving wool. We studied these people just consuming 30 grams. People eat hundreds of grams of this shit. They drink 2-liter bottles of Diet Coke in a fucking day. So people are drinking, they're not getting a little bit. In this study, like they're getting it in every way. And this is the biggest grift, right? This is why you can't blame anything on any one thing. Oh, people are just unhealthy. Oh, it's got to be the meat. It's got to be the meat and the eggs. It's got to be the meat and the eggs. Ooh, bad meat. It's the meat. Yeah, the meat's the thing. The meat is the problem. We've only had that for hundreds of thousands of fucking years. It's got to be the meat. Can't be all this artificial shit. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So anytime you're like, ooh, protein cookies. Oh, Quest bars, high protein. And guess what? It's healthy. Oh my God, there's no sugar, but it tastes like cookies and cream. Stop being a fucking idiot. Seriously. Come on. People are such suckers for fucking marketing. They're telling you, hey, we're lying to you. Buy this. Okay. And it's actually healthy because it says it. Yeah. Safe and effective. Okay, here we go. We got one more story. We got 2 videos today, but this is awesome. Canada How many of you are here from Canada? Where are my Canadians at? Now,
USA, greatest country in the world.
You know, you Canadians are really nice. Really nice people. Nice people. But I don't know what's going on. Too nice. Too nice? A little too nice, eh? We got to talk about this article, though. Furious trans athlete wins women's 1,500 meter event in Canada a year after breaking record for 5,000 meter race for ages 45 to 49. So,
Matt Damon.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Canada's like leading the world with this retardation. So you literally have a man. I love how they're calling it a trans athlete. Yo, it's a fucking man that is just smoking women. It's the same thing with the male swimmer that was like the trans swimmer. Okay, so you tuck it back and then you win
tiny
the
tuck,
swimming race.
typical tuck, total tuck, and the tyrannical
Gives
tuck.
a whole nother meaning to chafe, to the chafing. Okay, so I guess we got to read through this and pretend this person's a woman. All right, Tiffany, 50 years old, placed first in the women's, I guess 50-year-old 1,500 meter, which is open to women aged 50 to 54, which took place over the weekend. While only one other person in that age group competed, Newell has repeatedly placed first in women's events. So there's only two people. This dude beat a woman. It's just two. It gets even better. It was just two people. Only one other person. Just this man and a woman like, I'm a better woman than you. Or it's like, I'm a better woman. Excuse me. Newell has repeatedly placed first in women's events and has set global records in her age category. Like, do we have to do this? In her, like, we have to call him a her? That's insane. Since transitioning in 2017. Let's take a look. There we go. A beautiful woman. What a beautiful woman. Yeah, looks just like a woman to me. Anyone? Any questions? Okay. Jesus Christ. All right. Okay. Looks like a CrossFit chick. Where's the rest of the article? Oh, we're going to talk about Leah Thomas. I just thought it was fun. That chick is jacked. So this is Tiffany Newell, everyone. She looks like singer of like Blink 182 or something like that, doesn't it? I took her out. It was a Friday night. It looks like one of those like punk like Green Day, like the bleached hair. This is Tiffany, everyone. Yes, queen. So brave. So brave. All right. So again, I think we can solve all this. Okay. If you are a dude and you want to be a woman, hey, I get it. Okay, I don't get it, but I mean, do your thing. If we're going to have the sports thing is stupid. The sports and the physical competition, it's stupid. It's stupid. This is like an insane spectacle. Okay. People are so desperate for attention and they're so subpar in their lives. They're transitioning for more attention. They're transitioning to actually perform well. If you're a man your whole life and you have testosterone coursing through your body and you have much more muscle mass, you can transition and then all of a sudden be first place when you were maybe not even ranking or placing at all. Barely able to compete against actual men. So this is like me going to a local playground at an elementary school and playing pickup basketball with 8-year-olds. Fucking block city, baby. right? Making it rain. You ain't getting near that rim, son. So it's the same thing. Just have a trans division. So have all the men, which is essentially men's. Like, have anyone that wants to be a woman that isn't a woman compete against each other, which is, again, essentially just a men's competition, but that would be a fair competition, or fairer, or whatever. At least it would use more than 5 brain cells. We could all agree that that would be more reasonable, I would think. It just doesn't... Look, if you want to live your life anyway, fine. But I just think you're not doing stuff like this. I don't see how you're doing stuff like this if you're not doing it if you're doing it for the attention. It seems like that's the only way that happens. And it's ironic. I'm going to say, like, the balls. Just saying, the balls. Pun intended. The balls. To transition to be a woman and then compete in a woman's... Just think of, like, the fucking balls. That's like me winning the Special Olympics without even training. Well, I identify as handicapped. Well, you must be. I don't know your lived experience. I'm like, you don't. You don't, because I am mentally handicapped. So you're like this kind of attention. If you want to transit, you want to be a woman and pretend like you are, it's like, do your thing. But why are you competing in like go for a run on your own? Like, this is just insane stuff. So most of this is for attention. It's just for attention because there's nothing to overcome. You just say this and all of a sudden you're brave. Oh, you're so brave. Oh, you're so wonderful. Oh, you're such a powerful individual. You're changing the world. It just doesn't take effort. It doesn't. You can just claim something. You can just say something. But the physical competition, that's what pisses me off. I was kind of judged, what's going on in Canada? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing up there? Just ridiculous stuff. Ridiculous stuff. So, see the folder, trans Canadian. Please stop this merry-go-round. I really do want to get off. I would love to get off. All right, fam. Anyway, we went from kefir and populating the gut to population destruction, I suppose.
Great Scott!
So let's see.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Is that right? Eric says, I saw a video yesterday. The trans person said they were going to be brave and go into the store to pay for gas. This is the issue. This is the issue. It's this desperate need for attention. And it's really because of the grooming, of course. It's because of the food. It's because of the social media. But this is like the same thing that killed like mainstream media too, is that everyone going for clicks, everyone just trying to send out, like, everyone voicing their opinion. Everyone is clamoring to get attention online. So you'll say anything and you'll do anything, including use chest binders, cutting off your balls, tucking it back, pretending like you're a man or a woman, or you're trying to belong, from young kids, young girls especially, all the way up. No longer have gay boys when you're 4 or 5 or 6. All of a sudden you're trans and you're supposed to be a girl and you were misgendered, or you are assigned a gender at birth. Like, ridiculous shit. So it doesn't take any bravery. It just takes, like, you literally selling your soul and just, I guess, completely, like, just destroying your integrity for attention. Just people are not self-aware. They don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. So I think it's just like it feels like it's a natural thing. It feels like it's a natural thing, but it's just this innate need for belonging that it's very sad, scary, and I think the biggest thing is just when supposedly, I think the biggest thing is the the shock of people that you would assume or would think to be sane that go along with it. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not that people have these thoughts or have these feelings or want to do these things. There are a lot of people that do weird stuff. People have weird hobbies. People have weird fetishes. And, there's a lot of different people in the world, and people have the right or the ability or whatever, the genetics to feel or do certain things, fine. But to play into it as if it's something that is, like, to use the term brave for shit like that is horrifying. Bravery is storming the beach at Normandy. Brave is, jumping into a lake to save someone that crashed their car and dragging them out. Like, there's actual bravery and heroism. And the fact that you're using that word for that kind of shit is really sick. And that's not to demean anyone's feelings. I mean, your feelings are irrelevant, and you're free to be demeaned or to be insulted or to be offended. I mean, that's up to you. But it's not a valuable way to participate in the world. And that's not necessary. That's not actually becoming your best self or your true self. That's an escape. It's an easy way out. And it might not seem like an easy way out. It's like, because it's fucking crazy. Most of this stuff is absolutely fucking crazy. But it's an easy way out because you don't have to put any work. You just change your hashtag. You just say something, and all of a sudden, oh my God, you did so good. Oh my God, I love you. Yes, queen. Just change your profile, put a couple flags up. Boom. Boom. And you're done. All right. Speaking of horrifying things, fam, we could be done right now, but I think we went too long. What's in the box? Let's do this one. We got two horrifying videos. This one says not same size high school. Let's take a look. A big look.
You know what I always think is interesting? Is when people are like, I'm not the same size I was in high school. Of course you're not. You were a literal child. Are you mad at your body for growing up?
High school, a child? Maybe when you're 13. You're a teenager. 18? I wouldn't say a child. I wouldn't say a child, but okay.
I think you need to set some more realistic standards. Like, you were just literally not done cooking. And you can't base your entire self-worth off of a half-baked piece of dough. You
just can't stop thinking about food.
Simply cannot, my friend.
Jeez. Okay, well.
Shut up, bitch!
Nah, settle down. Settle down. So this idea, like, I'm not the same weight I was in high school. You weren't finished growing. You pretty much are. Maybe when you're not 12, but when you're 17, 18, yeah, you're pretty much developed physically. Most people don't grow further after that. You just kept on eating and didn't exercise. So you just kept on eating to grow, and you got wider because you can't get taller. I mean, people just keep on eating. They just kept on getting taller and taller and look like a beanstalk, but no, you get wider. So it's like, I want to get back to high school weight. I agree. This idea that I'm going to go back in time to high school. So yeah, you do like physically develop. Your body gets more wear and tear and calluses and wrinkles, and your body ages. But it's really compounded bad habits. Agreed? It's compounded bad habits. So yeah, you might develop. So let's just say, forget the high school. Let's just say early 20s. Okay? Let's say 22, 23, 24. Think about it. 21, 22, 23. You're talking about year. So when you're 30 and you're like, oh, I would love to be my high school body. It's like, well, you have 10 to 15 years of sediment and decay and inflammation and terrible habits. So you're not going to rewind the clock to like all your facial structures and bone and all this stuff to look exactly like you were in high school. But let's not discount just the time and wear that you're putting on your body. People just destroy themselves They destroy themselves for years and then wonder why they can't go, because you are destroying yourself. Yeah, there's gravity. There's other, but your body is just exposed to a lot of things. So, yeah, it's unrealistic to try to get back to your high school weight. I've said that many times, like that's psychology. But she's like saying, you're half done. You're never going to go back. That Abby person, her reasoning for saying that is like, no, that's the justification to be fat. So that's the shit. It's not that I disagree with that statement, but she's saying that to leverage, well, you're never going to go back. So it's okay to keep on growing. The reason why I'm 250 pounds is because I was a half-baked ball of dough in high school. Now I'm a couple rolls. More than a couple. So that's the justification that she's using. So I disagree with that wholeheartedly. So if you are morbidly obese, it's not because, you just weren't finished growing in fucking high school or college. It's like you pretty much were physically done growing, like developing, but you weren't done growing, that's for sure. So that's the leverage, and that's the reason why she was saying that, because she's morbidly obese. But I mean, high school, she wasn't fully baked yet. I don't know what the fuck she was baking, if that's the case. That's like one of those like Guinness Book of World Record, like those cookies or something like that, where like they have like 50 people like, look at the cookie we made. All right, here we go. Let's
I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you.
Let's get a little church. What are you doing, baby? What are you doing? Her brother is here in the other room, so she's been like antsy the entire episode. What are you doing? I'm trying to show you to the fam. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing over there? And of course, we have the Tainty Man. Aww. All right, everyone hit that like button, beaches. We will cover one more video. Sorry, apologies. We'll cover one more. Everyone's like, oh my God, one more? How could you? How could you do one more? How dare you? How could there possibly? Everyone hit that like button right now on YouTube. Make sure you check us out. Podcast available everywhere. Spotify, leave us a review. Check out the links down below. Join the Swole fam today, swolenormousx.com for those new releases we talked about at the beginning of today's episode. Let's get some biceps and gorillas. Everyone flood the comments right now. Let's fucking go. Here we go. Come on, Booshes.
Hadouken! Hadouken! Hadouken!
Crucifixion is good. Out of the door, line on the left, one cross each.
All right. If I told you this video is probably going to be horrifying, I would be understating it, I'm sure. It's called Queer Teacher. It's called Queer Teacher. So it's not going to be good.
What happened to your queer party friends?
It's not going to be good. But hey, you're not here. You're not here going deep with Papa and the fam if you're not ready for some resistance. Am I right? Okay. It's called Queer Teacher. So let's see.
What's in the box?
No one knows. Here we go.
Can I say how amazing it is to be the queer representation I did not have, and so many people do not have when they were kids? I mean, I am a teacher. I am not just a teacher. No. I mean, I've actually had quite a few kids tell me I look like a guy, which for me, that's actually kind of a compliment. I'm not sure how. I'm still figuring all of that. But being able to show these kids that being who they are, loving who they are, being proud of who they are, showing everyone who they are is the best thing that they could do for themselves. I mean, I tell these kids to call me mom at school because I say that
You fucking people.
How old is this person? First off, how old? Like, this person looks like a child. You tell the students to call you mom? Okay. All right. The left doesn't have children. They have yours. Again, homeschool your children. If you do not want them getting indoctrinated by people like this, no, don't call your teacher mom. That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. All right, let me rewind a couple. Let's continue.
best thing that they could do for themselves. I mean, I tell these kids to call me mom at school because I say that I am the school mom. I want them to be able to trust me, to come to me, be able to feel like I'm not just someone who's going to give them good or bad grades, but like someone they can actually talk to, someone they can, words, can confide to. And it's the greatest thing I could have ever asked to do in my life.
No medication except my fucking antidepressants.
I'm not usually miffed. I don't even know what to say about that. Well, I will say, here's the thing. Teachers, look, this is why I say homeschool your kids, because teachers, accurately stated though, have a huge impact in children's lives. We know that. Education is very important, but education does not have to happen in a school. Does not have to be funded by the government. Okay. What you're doing is you're subjecting your children to this type of brainwashing. I think public school, I think teachers are like 97% liberal. Like you're exposing your children to all these manic ideologies. And in some situations, kids do not have a good home environment. They do not have someone that they can talk. They can't talk to their parents. Their parents are alcoholics or they abuse. Like there's a lot of issues that kids that come from, bad homes. So there are situations where the teacher can be a parental figure that doesn't exist and actually help guide the child. So I'm not saying that it's always a bad thing, but it's just not what it used to be. I mean, do you want your child to be educated or do you want your child to be indoctrinated? And I'm not saying that everyone can homeschool. I think more people can homeschool than the amount of people that think they can. I think a lot of parents and just people in general assume and ignorantly assume. And I say ignorant, not stupid. I say ignorant meaning unknowledgeable, that they can. A lot of people think that someone else has more information. Well, I'm not that smart, or I couldn't teach my child the same math a teacher can in third grade. I disagree because you grow. You grow when you teach. One of the things that I've learned is that, because I've been teaching for years. As a personal trainer, you're a teacher, right? You're teaching your client. I taught at a school. I've done so many conferences and masterclass and master trainings, teaching trainers. Like I taught at a school for years and I traveled the country educating and teaching. You learn when you teach. You learn when you teach. You master topics when you teach them. So even if you've been teaching the same topic and you know what you're teaching, you know a lot more than whom you're teaching, you learn as you teach. My mastery of kinesiology and muscle insertions and origins and actions came from me applying it and being interested, but teaching kinesiology and teaching this to other people, because you have to know your shit to teach it. So I had to really learn it and master it in order to explain it, in order to teach it. And it's reinforced it more and more. And the more that I learn from that, I start thinking about things in different ways. And then you can add onto that and onto that. So if you are a parent, think about when you have a 3-year-old, how much more you know than the 3-year-old. Do you know what 3 plus 3 is? Okay. Do you know what color red is? Okay. So it's like you teach them, and as the content progresses, or as you need to teach them other things, you're learning it as you're teaching them. You're guiding them through material. And you're also able to teach them in a manner that is not biased, or at least it's biased the way that you want them to be educated, because you have years of experience in this life that they don't have. You have perspective and you know how you want to raise. It's your child. It's not the teacher's child. It's not the teacher's child. I want them to call me mom. That's gross. That's weird. That's gross. That's what happens when someone doesn't have kids. They project their regrets and they project those insecurities and they project that lack of that biology, right? Females are supposed to have children. I'm not saying everyone has to have them, but they're supposed to. That's literally what you've evolved to do. So when a female doesn't have children, it comes out in many different ways. It comes out in having 50 fucking cats. It comes out in painting your hair blue and yelling at people on the side of the street. It comes out in many different fucking ways. And if you don't want to have kids and this doesn't offend you, you don't want to have kids, that's fine. That's your choice. But many, many people are in denial that they should have. They wanted to. They didn't. So they internalize in some other way. And of course, now she's like, I'm a mom. Just call me mom. It's like, you need to, like, that's what happens when you're not actually doing what you're not really abiding by your innate existence. Not saying that we're losing out as a society because she didn't reproduce. Like, not a loss there, fam. But just saying, most people aren't honest with themselves, and it comes out like that. Like, they are, like, that person, it's not the child's mother. Now, if you have your kids in public schools, you need to be educating them on your own and making sure that you are plugged in, that you are educating them so they can sift through the bullshit. And maybe you have a good school system. Maybe you have a situation where you live that they're actually getting good information, but you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. And again, there's education and indoctrination is a huge difference. A massive, massive difference. And I think it's a lot of individuals. It's people's lack of confidence and this assumption and this like a lateral, like in football, like this offloading of authority and responsibility, right? Like in the last couple of years with lockdowns and the science and all of that the
attacks
fucking scam,
on me, quite frankly, are attacks on
when it comes to all
science.
of that, people were just looking for someone to tell them what to do. They weren't using their brains. They weren't thinking. It's just like when you send your kid to school. Oh, someone else will teach my kid. Well, guess what? Someone else is teaching your kid. Like, that doesn't scare the fuck out of you. Like, that doesn't scare you. Think about that. Oh, I'm just here, teach my child. It makes me nauseous. Like, just think about it. I'll just let someone else teach him. Yeah, teach. That's what you're doing. You're letting some other authority, you're letting your government daddy just teach, brainwash, program. Yeah, program my child for me. Thank you. Send them off to school, in the high school, send them off to college. Let someone else raise them. And I'm not saying like raise in the sense, but a lot of times that's what's happening. That is what's actually happening. And it's these same individuals that offload authority that don't believe in themselves, that have never developed themselves as individuals, have never really challenged themselves, have never gone outside their comfort zone, because that's what it is. So you don't think you're smart enough or you can't homeschool your kids. It's because it's an uncomfortable thought. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to change my scheduling. I'm not gonna be able to watch as much Netflix. I'm not gonna be able to, I don't know. Oh, but I'm already so tired. I'm also doing this. It's like, you have time. You can do it. You can work it out. You can figure it out. Like, all you have to do is, like, you're educating your child. You have so much to teach. You've been on this world. You have a lot of experiences and things that you would wish you did better and you want for them. Like, if you want the best for them, it doesn't come from like this, essentially like children's prison, which is what these schools are. Like, you could take them to the park. You can, I don't know, teach them how to, teach them how to exercise, how to eat right, how to play well with other kids at the park. You can teach them math and history and stuff. You could watch documentaries, like real documentaries. Like there's so much good information out there. I'm just saying, as a teacher and as a parent, you're a teacher. So as you're teaching your children, you're learning and you're learning with them. And I just think it's like anything else. People don't have a lot of confidence because they never really challenged themselves. They had it too easy and they're always told what to do. So they don't take the wheel. They don't take the reins and they don't believe in themselves. So they offload it to someone who's getting underpaid. They have 20, 30, 40 kids in a room, sit down, eat garbage food. Let me just tell them the fucking minimums. It slows down kids that are able to excel because they're reduced to the average of the class. Teacher has to teach like the middle of the room. So the slower kids don't get the attention they need to get better. And the kids that are very intelligent are slowed down and bored. And then they start like, passing notes or talking or acting out of line because they want more attention and they're bored as fuck. Like a lot of kids are extremely smart, but they're like sitting in a fucking, like, this is boring. School bored the shit out of me. It bored the fuck out of me. I got decent grades because I was intelligent, but it's because I did the bare minimum. It was boring as fuck. I literally got like B's. I was a, quote unquote, right? If you look at the scorecards, I wasn't one of those. I didn't get like F's and, shitty grades, but up through college, like even through high school, I forget what the pointing system was, 3.0 or college was my college was like a 2.27 or a 3. I think it was a 3. Let's just say 3. I forget. But it's because I had no reason to do it. I was just kind of like doing classes. I was bored. But then my senior year, I had to like make up a bunch of classes. Any class that I did that I was interested in, shocker. Did this like world art survey. It was actually interesting. And I got an A. Or kinesiology, I got an A. So things that I enjoyed. And then when I went back to school, because I thought about going to medical school, so I took some extra classes. I took like organic chem. Like when I had a reason to do certain things, when I had a reason to get good, like I aced my classes. And I realized, I wasn't studying because I had no purpose. I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was all boring. But like, of course, if you're interested in something, you're going to put more effort into it. But I just think like when you're teaching, so getting back to that, in other words, I was bored. You put in the bare minimum. It's like most of it is like a waste of time. It was really a waste of time. So in other words, if you're homeschooling, you can play to your child's strengths and their weaknesses, and you can actually customize, just like the elimination diet. You can customize what you're teaching them. But there are a lot of ways to work around it, or to get more involved, and to have community with people in your area that do homeschooling or that rotate different days of the week or things like that. There's a lot of different, ways to get around it. And I know not everyone can do it. Like our society, and that's the reason is because our society is not built around that. Our society is built around creating factory workers with this archaic system from like the 40s and the 50s. So yeah, our structure, our schedules, and everything is not worked around that. So I get it. And this is just like, we're still doing the same systems that we have been for a long time. So it's not accommodating to what it probably should be, but just something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. And I hear you, Frank. I mean, I don't think the socialization is a factor. I don't think that's because that's something that maybe wasn't done well, but you can still get totally a lot of socialization and sports and things like that. But they can actually, it depends on how it's done. But let's read the comment. Homeschooling can go wrong. Also, my wife is the oldest of 15 kids. That's a lot of fucking kids too. And the last 10 or so were homeschooled. They have no social skills and are all lacking in their educational level. That's a lot of kids too. So maybe that was an issue, but also, it could also be quite the opposite. The child can be much more astute and emotionally developed to communicate with adults and to communicate with other people because they're around older people more often. So it can be actually quite the opposite in many ways too. You know, you're able to look people straight in the eye. You're able to have more conversations. You're not being distracted by all the bullshit. Doesn't mean you don't play with other kids, but there's different places where you can interact with children. Just the point is, if you have like 8 hours out of the day and the child is just sitting in a fucking room, just being like droned onto about shit, and they're inside all day, not getting any sun. There's no recess and gym. It's just like they're sitting there. It's like it's like, you know, daycare, but are they getting educated or are they getting indoctrinated? And yes, they get the basics, and maybe there's a certain application for that. But in your child's most formative years, I would just think that it behooves the parent to be as involved and invested as possible. And everyone's different. Everyone's abilities are different. So you all do the best you can. Just some nice little extra rant. Didn't expect to go on that, but literally working through my own thoughts and just some things coming from all this stuff. Because the more videos I see, of course, this teacher and all these kinds of videos, like, do they give a bad name to teachers? Do they, or does these videos expose a lot of where it's going? Because you don't need a lot of these teachers for this to be like, this is the kind of stuff that like drags the entire system down. Because the school doesn't have to be all that type of teacher. You just need a couple of them that interact with your children, and it's like a virus, and it just bleeds through all the kids. It bleeds through, just creates more victims, creates more attention seekers, just creates more manipulation, getting what you want based on your victim status or what you don't have, or it's always someone else's fault, not taking personal responsibility, not working hard, you know, all these other different attention seeking mechanisms, rather than actually real self-development as a child. And this is very important for a kid to learn. Just some thoughts there. So I appreciate all the comments though. And like Frank was saying, like, things can go well and things can go wrong too. 15 kids though, Jesus Christ. See, if you have 15 kids, homeschooling, it's like, well, that's literally like a school at home. My God. But you would think the socialization, they're socializing, there's 10 of them or 15 of them. That's like a lot of kids socializing with one another, right? Okay, Elizabeth, homeschooling means you can teach in any way that fits your child and family. We went to museums, zoos, aquariums, the beach, the park, and there was always learning happening. That's what I mean, education and learning. And think about it, on the rare chance that the school goes on a field trip, you have to have everyone sign it. You have the chaperone, you have to do this boring, like, oh, you go into the zoo once in a while. Many schools don't do it because of the risk and the insurance and the liabilities and the undertaking and the funding. Like if you're homeschooling, you can just go and do this stuff. And of course, you know, it's easier if you have a solid family unit and you have one family income and there isn't crazy inflation. But this is like where everything comes down to like the root cause. The money is the root cause of everything. Dollars are worth less. People can't plan for the future. People can't save. So you're in a constant state of fear and anxiety and unknown. You don't have as much time because your dollar's worth less. You have to work more jobs. You have a mother and a father, sometimes not, but if you do, both of them have jobs, so they're both not home. So it's, you know, if you could have a funny, like a father coming home like, honey, I'm home. And the mother is like homeschooling the kids because you can live on one income. Like that's a, you know, a much better approach to it, which is really what should be the case. But at the same time, you know, everyone's approach is different, but just keep in mind, obviously there's a lot of problems, and obviously these problems that we're having today with all of these lunatics, this is not something that happened yesterday. So just keep that in mind. This is not the reason why I'm talking about this. It didn't happen yesterday. These people were not 5 years old yesterday. Like they're 18 or 20 or 25. Like the people or the children that were affirmed, that were allowed to live in this fantasy land. They've been in school their whole life, and now they're the teachers in school. They've never been out in the real world. They were babied, coddled, just, you know, floated through their existence. And now they're teaching the kids. And now those kids are growing up. Like this happened years ago, decades ago. and it's compounded through college. And those kids in college, they go back and they teach in schools, and they're teaching your kids the same shit. And they're teaching, like, that's what they were taught and that they were taught. And this kind of liberal and woke ideology has been pervasive in schools and colleges since the 60s and 70s. It's just when you're in, when you're in college in the 60s and 70s, then you're teaching kids in the 70s and 80s, and then they're growing up in the 90s and they're teaching kids. And then, it's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. It's like generations. When you see a generational tree, there's like 5 at the top and there's like 5,000 at the bottom. These two have kids and these two have kids and these have kids and these have kids and these have kids. So it's like that whole movement, all of a sudden now when you get to 2023, yeah, you have a few generations of all these teachers populating and teaching in the schools for 30, 40 years. And then you have more, and then their students are getting to the school system. And then it's just more and more and more. So now it's coming to a head with social media, plus the food, plus all these different things. That's why it seems like it's really exploding. It's because it's those layers of sediment, generations, like 3 or 4 deep, all of a sudden with all this bullshit. Now it seems like it's everywhere. It's like, oh my God, it's a virus. It's just now. It's been going on. It's just now we're reaping the quote unquote rewards of decades of indoctrination. It just wasn't as evident because you didn't see these videos everywhere, right? You weren't seeing this on CBS. Dan Rather wasn't fucking, we come to you live with another purple-haired lunatic from Berkeley. Like, you didn't see this kind of shit everywhere. It didn't make the news. There's only a couple channels and only a certain amount of real estate in the paper, and people weren't exposed to the same kind of thing. Now you can see everything anywhere, anytime, and you realize like, oh shit, it's everywhere. A lot of things seem like that, but so it's not an over exaggeration. You're seeing it. This is why you're seeing it in these tech companies, because all these people are they're now working. They're now working. It's like layers and layers of people working. And you have a lot of weak fucking people that don't stand up for what they believe in, that don't want to push against the resistance and push against the stresses. Same thing with working out. Most people don't want to be in pain or discomfort. Most people don't want to be siloed or isolated. Yesterday in the accountability meeting, we talked about when you follow the 7 pillars, you start eating healthy and taking care of yourself, you're going to be alone. You have to be okay being alone for a lot of this and feeling like a quote unquote outcast. And most people don't want to feel like that. We've evolved to not be outcasts. So people in these companies and like, oh my God, you get an email. I'm offended by so-and-so. Oh my God, company meeting will change everything. Oh, don't be mean to me. It's just a power grab. And most people are huge pussies. So that's kind of I guess we could just come down to that. Most people are huge pussies. So there's that.
You switch the samples.
What time is it? Where are we? I blacked out. What happened? What are we doing? What episode is this? All right. As I said, we're going a little bit long. Hopefully we'll tighten this up. Goes on a 30-minute fucking rant. Okay, we're all still here. Let's get into this swole card. Jesus Christ. I hope some of that made sense. That was just mind vomit. But that's why we're here, right? Let's get into today's swole card. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Was it delicious? Was it delicious and nutritious? Maybe give you some things to think about. Just plug in. At least if your kids are going to public schools, talk to them. Can educate them. Don't assume that they're getting everything there. Right? Don't assume they're getting everything there. Like, plug in, be involved, because this is definitely a possibility. And you don't want to be on the receiving end of that later on. Oh, look at the church. Aww. She's so cute. Let's get a little fluffy. The fluffy the bellies. It's a fluffy and the bellies. The belly rubs. The belly rubs. And the tainty man. Very nice. Yeah, that's my point. That's my point, Cerny. That was like a long rant to kind of get to that point. She says, just don't shove them out the door and hope everything will be okay. Right? I know some of you, it's like, well, I work at this and I can't. I do understand. So not, like I said, it's a system that's built against you doing this, right? And think about this. Everything from the 7 pillars, right? All the 7 pillars, everything that you do that's worthwhile having, everything in the fucking world, like constant waves just battering the ship. It's just constant waves against it. Anything that's worth having. So yeah, the economy, inflation, your work schedule. Yeah, it's against you homeschooling. Think about that. Trying to eat healthy and find fucking quality food. And like, yeah, look at all the garbage and everything, all the garbage products and shampoos and foods and artificial sweeteners and vegetable oils. Like anything that's worth pursuing, everything is just hardcore pushing back on it. It's against the grain, everything. So it's like, yeah, homeschooling is definitely going to be a challenge for many people in today's day and age. Shocker. Because it's probably the right decision. Eating healthy, quality food, getting rid of all these foods. Is it really challenging? Maybe at first you have to learn where to source certain things and make better choices. But yeah, everyone wants to drink alcohol. Every fucking entertainment venue or things, it's always either super late at night. It's, super loud music or audio that's blowing out your ear holes. Everyone needs to be constantly stimulated. It's all this blue light. It's food, it's alcohol, it's drugs, it's escape, it's laziness, it's some sort of addiction, some sort of cope. And it's like that with anything. So when you look at something, oh my God, it's really hard. Everything's against me executing on that. Everything is against me. Homeschooling. Is everything against you, or are you actually not just getting it done and finding a way? It's not a call out, but it is a call to action for whatever it is. For whatever it is. It's usually coming from within, because those forces are always there. It's always there. It's never going to get better. It's always going to be there, right? Starting tomorrow. I always say, don't start today. Start today. Get started today. 7 pillars. Do it today. You're not going to feel like it. You're not supposed to feel like it. Papa Soil, how do I get motivation? You don't. You don't. You never have it. It doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. You do it. You're confusing motivation with being in a good mood. No, you do it because it's time to do it. It's time to train. It's time to fucking go do it. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. It's always there. You're never going to feel like it. Once you realize that's the standard, not feeling like it, not wanting to do it, those negative voices, that is the standard. That's always like that. It's always there. It's always there. And then you look at it differently. It's like, oh, that's supposed to be there. Cool. So when you know that's the way it's going to be, then you do what you need to do to get around it. Whew. My goodness. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, we got a winner. I do declare Monsieur James Grissom. Congratulations, Mr. Tainted Mr. Tainted Magooch. All right, James, or can I call you Jaime? I think I'm going to. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com. Swole card 2489 in the subject, your mailing address, and the body of the email, and we will send you today's Swole card. Congratulations, fam. Thank you so much for everyone being here. Congratulations, James. And thank you for all the support. I hope the rant made sense. I hope it was coherent. It was a lot. We went deep. Not kidding about that balls deep, fam. If you're new, I'm not kidding. When I say balls deep, I mean balls deep. I appreciate it, Tyler. Keep getting after it, you swole slut. Usually the shows are about an hour or so, but I mean, when you're going deep, the deep get going. Sometimes you just can't stop. You can't stop the swole train sometimes. You just got to keep on plowing through.
Because
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
How about I send you a hobo's dick cheese?
Hey, look, it's my Tainty Magooch sign. Look at that. Look at that.
Chlorophyll? More like chlorophyll.
I love it. People start to dip after the swole card goes. They're like, it's over. They're missing the best part. The piano cock is coming, fam. Let's see if he keeps the streak alive. But you know I will. You know I will.
I like to caress rusty spoons.
Tainty Magooch sign. It flickers a little bit, which I was kind of pissed off. I'm like, the camera. But I like it. It's kind of nice, a little flicker. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. As you can tell, we're all here no matter how long an episode is. We love it. Right back at you, big guy. I know, we did it together. We made it. Woo. I'm gonna have to title this episode with like something with Rand in it. What's the title of today's episode? Who wants to title it? Coast to coast. Very nice. What's the title of today's episode? What do you think it is? Drop that in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Let's see. Let's get a title going. Maybe we should start doing that. Like, what do you want to title today's episode? What's it going to be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? It's gonna be like epic knowledge cock or something like that. All right, I'll think about it. Comments aren't coming through. The long D. The long D. Papa goes balls deep. Fat phobic versus liberals. Oh, we should do that. We should do that. Whoever wins the swole card maybe gets to nail it. Not everyone. Sometimes people aren't live anymore. They drop it and they win. And they're not able to be live. Rant McRanderson. Queer teacher frightens her own hairline. I didn't even mention the hairline. Teach your own damn kids. Well, James, you won today's swole card. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Teach your own damn kids. Facts. All right, fam. Love you, Beaches, and maybe I'll put some of that stuff in the description. But thanks for being here. Keith Parker, I'm still here, baby. Fuck yeah, you are. Let's fucking go. Let's get a little American for Keith. Holy shit, holy episode. All right, fam, go make some gains, go eat a steak, and go hug your kids. Peace, McGee, Snoops, Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio. Oh.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they can't left and they so mad, it's like...
Then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bag that you made. That's a bag that you made. That's a bag that you made. That's a bag that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, chill. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, whoa, my shit is relevant. On topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons on closets and making new deposits. I'm in my